Alright guys, this is the one you've all been waiting for. This is your introduction to the bullfrog dissection. So as you know, bullfrogs are very complicated, and so we're going to read a little bit about what you're going to see, what their purpose is, how they reproduce, things like that. So hang with me because there's a lot of information to cover. So as members of the class Amphibia, frogs may live some of their adult lives on land, but they must return to water to reproduce. Eggs are laid and fertilized in water. On the outside of the frog's head are two external nares, or nostrils, two tympani, or eardrums, and two eyes, each of which has three lids. The third lid, called the nictitating membrane, is transparent. Inside the mouth are two internal nares, or openings into the nostrils, two vomerine teeth in the middle of the roof of the mouth, and two maxillary teeth at the sides of the mouth. Also inside the mouth, behind the tongue, is the pharynx, or throat. A lot of people don't know that bullfrogs have teeth. In the pharynx, there are several openings, one into the esophagus, the tube into which food is swallowed, one into the glottis, through which air enters the larynx, or voice box, and two in the eustachian tubes, which connect the pharynx to the ear. The digestive system consists of the organs of the digestive tract, or food tube, and the digestive glands. From the esophagus, swallowed food moves into the stomach and then into the small intestine. Bile is a digestive juice made by the liver and stored in the gallbladder. Bile flows into a tube called the common bile duct, into which pancreatic juice, a digestive juice from the pancreas, also flows. The contents of the common bile duct flow into the small intestine, where most of the digestion and absorption of the food into the bloodstream takes place. Indigestible materials pass through the large intestine and then into the cloaca, the common exit chamber of the digestive, excretory, and reproductive systems. The respiratory system consists of the nostrils and the larynx, which opens into two lungs, or hollow sacs with thin walls. The walls of the lungs are filled with capillaries, which are microscopic blood vessels through which materials pass into and out of the blood. The circulatory system consists of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. The heart has two receiving chambers, or atria, and one sending chamber, or ventricle. Blood is carried to the heart in vessels called veins. Veins from different parts of the body enter the right and left atria. Blood from both atria goes into the ventricle and then is pumped into the arteries, which are blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart. The urinary system consists of the frog's kidneys, ureters, bladder, and cloaca. The kidneys are organs that excrete urine. Connected to each kidney is a ureter, a tube through which urine passes into the urinary bladder, or a sac that stores urine until it passes out of the body through the cloaca. The organs of the male reproductive system are the testes, sperm ducts, and cloaca. Those of the female system are the ovaries, oviducts, uteri, and cloaca. The testes produce sperm, or male sex cells, which move through the sperm ducts, or tubes that carry sperm into the cloaca, from which the sperm then moves outside the body. The ovaries produce eggs, or female sex cells, which move through oviducts into the uteri and then through the cloaca outside the body. The central nervous system of the frog consists of the brain, which is enclosed in the skull, and the spinal cord, which is enclosed in the backbone. Nerves branch out from the spinal cord. The frog's skeletal and muscular systems consist of its framework of bones and joints, to which nearly all the voluntary muscles of the body are attached. Voluntary muscles, which are those over which the frog has control, occur in pairs of flexors and extensors. When a flexor of a leg or other body part contracts, that part is bent. When the extensor of that body part contracts, the part straightens. To determine our frog's sex, we're going to look at the hand digits, or fingers, on its forelegs. A male frog usually has thicker pads on its thumbs, which is one external difference between the sexes. Male frogs are also usually smaller than female frogs. We will also identify the external features of the head. We'll find the mouth, the external nares, the tympany, the eyes, and the nictitating membranes. Then we will flip the frog over. No, sorry, we don't do that yet. Then we'll cut the hinges of the mouth and open the mouth up to where you can see inside. That's before we flip it over. We'll identify the structures inside the mouth, the vomerine teeth, the maxillary teeth, the internal nares, the tongue, the openings to the eustachian tubes, the esophagus, the pharynx, and the glottis. Then we'll flip the frog over. We will look for the frog's cloaca, which is located between the hind legs. We will take our scalpel and our scissors and we'll cut along the center of the body from the cloaca all the way up to the lip of the frog. We will turn back the skin, cut towards the side of each leg, basically making a little vest, and we will take that skin and open it up. Next thing we're going to do is lift and cut through the muscles and breastbone to open up the body cavity. If the frog is a female, the abdominal cavity may be filled with dark-colored eggs. If so, we're going to remove those eggs so that we can actually see the organs inside the frog. Then we'll identify the organs of the digestive system, such as the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, large intestine, cloaca, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Then we'll look at parts of the circulatory and respiratory systems that are in the chest cavity. We will find the left atrium, the right atrium, and ventricle of the heart. We'll find an artery attached to the heart and another artery near the backbone. There will be a vein near one of the shoulders, and we will also find the 2 lungs. Then we will remove the intestines and liver. We will identify parts of the urinary and reproductive systems. We might see some yellow fat bodies that look like starfish that are attached to the kidneys. We'll find the ureters, the urinary bladder, the testes, and sperm ducts if it's male, and if it's female, we'll find the ovaries, oviducts, and uteri. Last, we'll remove the kidneys and look for spinal nerves that extend from the spinal cord. And then we will open up the skin of the leg and we will look at the thigh and the kneecap. So as you can tell, there's a lot of extra parts in a bullfrog, which makes it very, very complicated. We've gone over these things here. So if it's a male, it's going to have a bigger thumb pad. If it's a female, it will be larger. Males are typically smaller. That's for breeding purposes. They have the nictitating membrane that comes up over their eye for them to see underwater. External nares are kind of their nostrils. They have teeth inside their mouth. Their tympanum is their ears, quote unquote ears. They have internal nares that are on the inside. Glottis, esophagus, pharynx, and tongue we will look at. They have the cloaca from which they excrete their leftover food, and then we're going to look at the thigh and leg muscles. So that is the end of your introduction to the bullfrog. Yay.
So this is the bullfrog dissection. So we have our bullfrog here. What you're going to notice is things like this. So these bullfrogs have been injected with dye, red and blue. So you're going to be able to see this incision that was made already for the dye. And then this reddish tint up here isn't how they normally look. But since they've been injected with dye and they've been sitting for a little bit, you can see that red here and here. They wouldn't look like that in nature. They would have that more green and brown color to help them be camouflaged. So anyway, just notice the red and the blue and how that's not what it's going to look like if you were to go catch one out in a pond. So anyway, just want to let you know about that. And the dye that they inject, and that helps us to see, once we get inside, that dye will help us to see some of the things that normally we wouldn't be able to see. Okay, so when we look at our sample, we're going to look at this front part first, and we're going to identify some things on the top. So as you can see here, we have the mouth, which, let's see if I can open that for you. Well, we'll do that in a little bit. But here is the mouth. here. You have the external nares, which are right here and here. That's kind of their nostrils, if you will. Then you can see on the eye, you can see the nictitating membrane. So here is the nictitating membrane, the third eyelid, and you can see there's one here. Okay. Then there is the tympanum, which is right here. That is kind of their ear, if you will. So that's the tympanum. They have one on each side. They have two eyes. They have two of the external nares, and they have their mouth. So this is the top part. You can see the brown and the green, which helps him, her to be camouflaged in the wild. So now we're going to look and see if we can tell if this specimen is a male or a female. So males will have a very large pad right here on their thumb. This one doesn't. So I'm going to assume, before we open up, I'm going to assume that this sample is a female. Just because you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. This one would have a very large thumb pad if it was a male for breeding purposes. And I just don't see that on this specimen. So my hypothesis is that this specimen is female. So now I'm going to try my best to open up the mouth, which, if you know, once an animal goes into rigor mortis, it becomes very difficult to move things. So I'm going to give myself a little help here. So once we get in there, we're going to open that mouth up. Okay, and he's got kind of some dirt in there, and that's okay. So we can see in the mouth now, and the biggest thing you're going to notice is the tongue. So this is the tongue right here with that little sticky part that comes out to catch whatever he or she's going to be eating. I'm going to actually dump out that liquid so that we can look. All right, well, he's going to be a tough one. So when you look into the mouth, you'll be able to see the glottis, maybe, like I'm having trouble seeing it because it's so closed, and you would be able to see the esophagus back there. So the glottis is going to be back in the throat with the esophagus. So that's going to be kind of hard to see. And then the pharynx is in there as well. I don't know if you can see in there, but that is quite a difficult frog to get its mouth open. So what I do want to show you, aside from the tongue, is the top part of the frog. So in the top part of the frog, you can see the vomerine teeth, which are these two guys right here. So if you stick your glove in the wrong way, these are known to break gloves. And then on the top up here, which you can kind of see, those are the maxillary teeth. So the maxillary teeth are going to go all the way from here, all the way across, kind of like our teeth. But then they have the two that are back here. And those are the ones that I call the glove rippers because they're very sharp. And if you're not careful, they'll get you. So that is the mouth. Okay, so now we're going to officially flip him over. As you can see, the arms are kind of in the way, so we'll kind of see how that goes in a second. Then you're going to take your scalpel and you want to find the lip, and you're going to make a cut. Try to make it as centered as you can. You're going to make a cut from the lip all the way down to the cloaca. So I'm going to make this first cut with my scalpel, and then I may need to bring in these guys depending on how tough this one is to get. So I'm going to start a cut right here. I'm going to go all the way down, try to stay as straight as I can, down to the cloaca. So the cloaca is going to be down here, the lips up here, and I think, yeah, I'm going to have to bring in this guy. So then we get our scissors, got that, and we'll cut down. And then you will take and cut from arm to arm, right here, all the way across to there, and then you want to cut the legs from there up there. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in this guy. Especially when you have muscles that you need to cut through, you're going to want the scissors. So we're going to make him a little vest, him or her, a little vest. Okay, so then you got that muscle wall, you got to go through. So I'm going to have to do some extra trimming. Trim, 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 trim. Because you want to be able to peel the skin back and get it out of the way. So we're going to trim, trim. Trim, 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 trim. This is kind of the part where you earn your keep here, because there's lots of trimming involved. Okay, so now we can peel this back and just get some of the liquid out here. All right, so that dye that you remember, the red dye, helps us to see the blood vessels in the skin. So when you peel back your vest, you'll be able to see those blood vessels better due to that dye that they have injected for us. So that dye just kind of gets everywhere, so you gotta be real careful. So those are the blood vessels. You can see there are a lot of them on either side. Then pull that there so it's out of the way. So we got to get through this muscle too. I'm just going to take a shortcut here and do that. Alright, so now you can see we have this muscle wall that we need to get through as well in order to see all of the inside parts that we need to see. Okay? So I'm just going to find where I started my cut. I'm going to very kind of gently, because I don't want to mess up the insides. And then I'm going to bring my scissors in here. Now, here's the part that is the most fun. The breastbone is right here, and you have to cut through it in order to see the heart. So what I do is I stick my scissors in there, and I bring it up all the way and I cut through the breastbone. Okay, and so the breastbone has been cut. I'm just going to cut up a little bit further into the lip, and that'll give us a bird's eye view. Okay, so then I'm going to go and retrace my cuts from the arms right here to kind of get in there. And then I'm going to retrace. I went a little low on the legs, so I'm going to go up a little bit higher and retrace up here. And then I may need to get my scissors because this one has a big muscle wall. Okay, so once we get that muscle wall out of there, we will be able to see the insides. So, more blood veins. You can see them there. This one's a tough customer. Okay, so we got one side open. Let's see about this side. This is the tough side. There we go. Okay, we're getting some progress here. All right, so now we have the muscle wall open. I'm going to tuck that behind the arms, and my hypothesis was correct. All of these that you see here are eggs. So what we need to do in order to see all of the good stuff on the inside is we need to remove those eggs the best we can. So I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to find the bottom part. That is a bunch of eggs. And then you're just going to pull those guys out. Okay, and pull those guys out. Try to get as many as you can without messing up any of the inside parts. That's a lot of eggs. Check it out. So this one's definitely female. And once we get all those eggs out, now you can kind of see the inside portions better. And this one looks like it has something in its stomach. So it'll be fun to open that up and see what's in there. Okay, so now we're going to try to identify the parts in the inside. I'm just going to check and make sure I got all the eggs out because there's always a ton hiding. I think I got them all. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to identify the insides of Mrs. Bullfrog here. Let's see if we, yeah, so we got it pretty good. All right, so at the top here, you can kind of see the esophagus in the mouth. So that is the esophagus that I kind of accidentally cut through, but that's okay. That is the esophagus. Then we have several veins up here that you can kind of see from the dye. Makes it a little bit easier for us to tell. You've got arteries. So let's get to the big stuff. So I'm going to move all those eggs out of the way so we can kind of see what we're doing here. All right, so this is where the money is. All right. So we're going to identify this big blue thing right here is the liver. So the liver, you can see it takes up a lot of space, kind of like ours does. So got that big blue thing, which wouldn't normally be blue, but since we have the dye, it is blue for us. Okay, so taking that guy out, so that's the liver. And if you open it up, kind of looks like blue Play-Doh. So that's the liver right there, the blue Play-Doh part. This right here is going to be the ventricle. So the color's kind of throwing me off here. So that's the ventricle right here. Going down to the heart, and the heart is going to be way hidden in the back. So we're going to find that guy here in a little bit. Okay. Oh, I missed part of the liver. So there's more. All right, the gallbladder is hidden up here somewhere. That might be it right here, this little gray guy. That's probably the gallbladder. So let's cut him out here. There we go. Wow, this one has a lot going on in here. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna go down here and see. Ooh, there's something in that too. All right, so this one right here, this one's easy to identify. This is the small intestine. Right here. Wow, I'm trying to figure out what this part is right here. I think that's the large intestine. Let's bunch of parts in this one. It's kind of throwing me off. But let's cut out the small intestine. Okay, so there's part of that. There's more right here. Okay, so there's, looks like, get you some ramen noodles, you know, ramen noodles. Okay, there's more on this side. Dun, dun, dun. All right, got all those guys out. You can see there's quite a few of those and a lot going on. Okay, so I'll make a little pile of our goodies up here. All right, I'm gonna do a little cleanup here. Okay, so this right here has to be the large intestine because I can feel stuff in there. So we're gonna cut that guy and see what's in there before we cut the stomach. Then I'll be able to see the top parts better. So I'm gonna do a very gentle cut. Yeah, because this one goes down into the cloaca area where he would poop and pee from. Okay, so this is the large intestine, and it looks like they dyed this one too because there's yellow and you can see the veins from there because of that dye. So now let's open this guy up and see what he was working on. See what she was working on. Oh! Yuck! Whew, don't normally get large intestines like this with cool stuff in them. Oh, sick. Alright, so you can see this one was working on digesting something red, probably a crawfish, or 2, or 3, or 7. Yes. All right. So here is here's a crawfish claw. Delicious. Looks like it didn't digest very well. And looks like a seashell or a shell, a snail shell or something. Not a seashell because they don't live by the sea. But it looks like it was eating a snail. Yum. Delicious. So obviously you can see that part didn't digest very well, so that was going to be fun. Here's a leg of some sort. And looks like, let's see what's in the stomach. As you can see, this one has a huge stomach, and they don't normally have enlarged stomachs like this. So I'm interested to see. One time last year we opened up a frog stomach, and we found a snake, and we tried to identify it, but it was a little bit too far gone. And then 2 years ago we found a bird in the stomach. So you can see these guys will kind of eat anything. One year we found Miss Guthman found a rat in one of her bullfrog stomach. And then my personal favorite, last year we had a frog who had eaten a humongous rock. So if that frog is your spirit animal, so be it, because that one had fun with the rock. Okay, I'm going to use this one still. So let's do a little surgery here and figure out what's... Oh, and then we also, last year, we had a frog who had eaten another frog. And by the time we got it open, you could just see the legs. Okay, so we are going to see what she's been snacking on here. All right, well, if that doesn't make you hungry, I don't know what will. So that is a whole crawfish. Look at that. Look at that. There's another one in there too. Check it out. Okay. And so, no rocks, which is a good sign. But, check it out. Yum. Aren't you hungry now? Hope you're not watching this before lunch. Check it out. So that is a partially digested deliciousness. Alright, so in here you can kind of see those folds like we looked at. It's a good stomach. Okay, so there's that. Alright, let's see what else we can identify in here. I want to find the heart. Okay, let me cut this out so we can see the backbone, because frogs have a backbone. Okay, so there is the backbone right there. Nice and strong. Very good. Okay. So now let's get up here. The heart is usually right underneath this incision. So when you make this incision and you go down, the heart is right there. So this little blue guy is our heart. Okay, so then we just have guts and stuff up here. You can feel the mouth. You can go in through the mouth in here. So now I want to show you the thigh and the leg. So we're going to take our scalpel, we're going to make an incision, and we will probably need scissors for this because the muscle is tough. So I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here and cut with the scissors. So you might know frog legs are a delicacy in many places. People like to eat them. So this one would be a good one to get fried up for you. Put on your table. Should have made that for your chopped challenge. Okay, so get that skin out of the way. Alright, so what I wanted to show you was the muscle in their leg, and I wanted to show you the kneecap. There we go. So this would normally be this blue, but you can tell that they went a little happy on the blue dye this year. But here is the kneecap. Okay, so they can extend and hop with their very, very powerful back legs. And if you have time, you can also look at the kneecap. This one might break our scalpel. But you can move that kneecap and look at that. So here's the, man, this one is a tough one. There's the inside of that muscle. Okay, and then there's the top part, and you can see why people like to eat those. So, ta-da! I want to show you the eye. I want to show you the lens. So I'm going to just do this real quick. You cut open the eye. Well, my tricks aren't working this year. Uh-oh. And ta-da! There is the lens. So when the frog was alive, this would have been clear, and it would have looked like a clear marble. Okay, so that is the lens. So if you have time, you can pop out the lens and then try your hand at popping the other lens. Ta-da! You might flick it across the room, but there are the lenses. That concludes our dissection of the bullfrog.